Well, of course, the ramifications of what's happened over the last 5 days far and wide, also affecting the money markets, the financial markets as well, to try and gauge the impact the situation in South Ossetia has had on the economy here in Russia. I'm joined now in the studio by Alexander Lebedev, the head of the National Reserve Bank, and I'm also joined by Dmitry Medvedenko, our business correspondent and presenter, of course. I'd like to come to you, Mr. Lebedev, first, if I may. What is your take on this? We've seen the markets in Russia go up, go down, but there are a combination of other reasons why they went down before this happened. What has the impact been as you see it?
Well, clearly, never in the world's history any military hostilities, whoever was to blame for it, which is a separate thing, of course, contributed positively to the national or international markets, especially in the global world. And we have seen our stock market being taken down, so probably the events in the South Ossetia did have a negative impact.
How significantly have they been affected?
Well, with actually the negative trend which materialized within the recent, let's say, roughly a month, it's taken down our stock market like, I don't know, maybe another 10%. It has been recovering today after the Medvedev statement of...
Was the trend down anyway about 5, 6, 7 days ago?
It was not only 5, 6, 7 days ago. Actually, the past 7 weeks, Russia was in 7 weeks of continuing.
It came on top.
It was a very bad timing for the escalation of that conflict. Mr. Lebedev, how was your business affected?
Well, simple. You probably are aware that the Russian corporate sector has borrowed around $500 billion US. And there is a thing which is called margin call, which is where you pledge your stock when you borrow money, and when the stock comes down, that is not considered to be enough collateral, you have to either pay back some money prematurely in cash. This is what happened to us. Not a lot. We have been since 1998 quite sensitive to borrowing a lot from foreign markets, because we have seen it already in autumn. When the liquidity is shortened, the markets do react negatively, and that squeezes liquidity inside the country. Luckily, we have enough of funds, and the government has stated and did quite a lot to actually provide liquidity, in fact, in case it is needed. So I hope this is not the most acute problem for our market, but it has been felt.
You're probably happy to see that the Russian markets are actually rallying right now, up more than 3%.
3%. I hope it is a trend. And it definitely is linked to President Medvedev saying that the military operation is actually stopped.
Well, can we talk about the economy now of, say, Georgia? Do you think it will be affected more significantly than Russia?
And how much tie-in is there between the economy of Georgia and Russia? How much intertrade? How much does one rely on the other?
Well, the citizens of Georgia do make some money in the Russian Federation. They do transfer money back into the country. This is one thing. There are rumors, to be confirmed, that some of the oil and oil product shipments and gas are curtailed by Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan. And of course, it doesn't contribute much to actually the economic sort of development of the Georgian economy. On top of that, there could be some additional funding for the army, which Georgia has already spent $1 billion US, which is by sort of a per capita or per number of citizens, one of the biggest armies in the world.
It's 10% of its GDP.
And I think all of that does not at all look very positive for the Georgian economy. The Russian economy is much bigger. And I think we will be able to overcome this short period of time, especially if really the hostilities are over.
But do you think business
and some negotiations with possibly some international involvement? Because this is a very important point, sorry I interrupt you, is that the point is that the media coverage, which affects, of course, the investors outside the world, by our side, which, of course, much more efficient than the Georgian. And if you ask me what my position is, then there is a Mikhail Gorbachev article in Washington Post today, which is very good, and I share what he writes about. And this is something we should be doing. We should actually be focusing more on being open to explaining to our media what has been going on, and being more active in international institutions, and not being scared of having some European involvement in actually the post-military operations settlements and actually maybe setting up an international commission, which is to be respected by every side, to really find out what happened and who is the one to be blamed.
How do you think the influx of foreign direct investment into Russia may or may not be affected by what's happened? Because Russia has been, its economic growth has depended largely on foreign direct investment.
Well, it still has to do much more with actually our own sort of laws and judicial system and the bureaucracy's attitude towards the investors. But fundamentally, Russia is still one of the most attractive places in the world. But we have to improve our political system in the sense that our bureaucracies should be less reigning in price-setting mechanism, in actually fighting the inflation, etc. So I think, in general, we look still very attractive, as long as we can actually treat the foreign investors locally better.
Well, Alexander Lebedev, head of the National Reserve Corporation, thanks for your input. Most grateful. Thank you to you, dear Matt.
Thank you.